Have you ever found yourself staring at your phone, wondering if it's too late to start dating again? Maybe you've heard about online dating from friends or family, or even seen those commercials with smiling couples who found love at any age, and thought, could that really happen to me? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. More and more seniors are turning to online dating not just to find romance, but to rediscover connection, excitement, and even a little adventure. Whether you're newly single, widowed, divorced, or just ready to share your life with someone again, this space can feel both thrilling and overwhelming at the same time. And I get it. The world of dating today looks nothing like it did 30 or 40 years ago. Back then, you met people through friends, church, work, maybe even the grocery store. Now, you're expected to build a profile, pick some nice photos, and chat with strangers before meeting in person. It can feel like stepping into a whole new universe. But here's the truth. It's never too late to find love or companionship, and the digital age can actually work in your favor. A study from Stanford University found that more than 39% of couples who got together in the last decade met online. And for people over 60, those numbers are climbing every year. What's more, dating platforms have started to cater specifically to older adults, making the process more intuitive and less intimidating. That's why we're diving deep into this topic today, and over the next few videos, to explore how you can confidently and safely navigate online dating as a senior. We'll talk about everything from building your profile to staying safe and handling rejection. And yes, we'll even talk about how to spot red flags and deal with awkward first dates. So, if you've ever wondered whether there's someone out there just for you, stick around. But before we keep going, I'd love your help with something. If you're enjoying this video so far, comment Y below. If not, comment N. It helps me know what's working and what to improve. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Now let's dive deeper. Let's start with the biggest challenge most seniors face, self-doubt. That little voice that whispers, am I too old for this? Or why would anyone be interested in someone my age? Here's the deal. Aging doesn't erase your worth. It adds to it. You've lived, loved, lost, learned, and grown. You bring wisdom, depth, and real perspective to a relationship, and that's exactly what many people are looking for. A 2020 AARP study showed that over 45% of seniors using online dating platforms were doing so with the hope of finding a committed relationship, not just casual flings. So you're not the only one who wants something real. Now, when it comes to actually putting yourself out there, the first step is creating a dating profile. And yes, I know, this can feel a bit like writing a resume for your love life. But it doesn't have to be awkward or uncomfortable. Think of your profile as a friendly introduction. Not a sales pitch, not a performance, just a simple, honest picture of who you are. Start by writing a short bio. Talk about what lights you up. Maybe it's gardening, reading historical fiction, ballroom dancing, or spending time with your grandkids. You don't have to list your life story, just enough to give someone a sense of your personality and what a day in your life might look like. Avoid cliches like, I love long walks on the beach, unless you actually do that every week. Instead, say something like, I walk my dog every morning at the park, coffee in hand, leash in the other. Be specific. Specific is what makes you stand out. Next up, photos. This is a big one, and yes, I know it can feel a little vulnerable. But remember, this isn't about looking like you did at 25. It's about being authentic and approachable. Choose recent photos that show you doing things you enjoy. Maybe it's a picture of you at a family barbecue, or on a vacation, or just smiling at the camera in your favorite outfit. Avoid group shots. People want to know who you are. And try to include at least one photo where your face is clearly visible. And yes, please smile. Research from the University of California found that people who smile in their profile pictures are 24% more likely to receive positive responses. Smiling sends a message of warmth, confidence, and openness. Now, once your profile is set up, it's time to explore. Most dating sites and apps will match you based on shared interests or values. But don't be afraid to take initiative. If someone seems interesting, send a friendly message. Keep it light and simple, something like, Hi there. I noticed you enjoy traveling. What's your favorite destination? It doesn't have to be a poem. You're just starting a conversation. And don't worry if you don't hear back right away, or at all. It's not personal. People get busy. They forget to check their messages. Or maybe they're not in the right place to connect. That's okay. Remember, online dating is a numbers game. The more genuine interactions you have, the more likely you are to find a connection that feels right. So take a deep breath. You've got this. You've already taken the first and hardest step, being open to the possibility of something new. In the next video, we're going to talk about something just as important: how to stay safe while dating online. Scams and fake profiles are unfortunately real, but so are the tools and strategies to protect yourself while staying open to love. And there's a lot more to explore, like how to communicate well, when to meet in person, and what to expect emotionally along the way. So don't go anywhere. This journey is just getting started. Before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. This video is for informational purposes only and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. Now let's keep going, because you're doing something incredibly brave by even considering this. You're stepping into a world that might feel unfamiliar, but the potential it holds is worth it. Still, one of the biggest questions people ask me when it comes to online dating is, how do I stay safe? It's a smart question, because while there's so much good out there, real people looking for real connection, there are also scams, fake profiles, and unfortunately, people who take advantage of trust. But don't let that scare you. Just like you wouldn't leave your front door wide open to a stranger, you shouldn't open up every detail of your life right away online. A few simple steps can protect your heart, your privacy, and your peace of mind. First, let's talk about spotting red flags. If someone reaches out and immediately wants to move the conversation off the platform, say, to WhatsApp or private email, that's a sign to slow down. Most legitimate dating apps have built-in safety features and reporting tools, and scammers know they can't hide as easily there. Another big one: if someone tells you they're currently overseas, maybe working on a big contract, and they'll be back soon, proceed with caution. It's a common scam script. And if they ask for money, even if it's for something small like a plane ticket or medical expense, that's your cue to block and report. AARP did a survey that found romance scams cost older Americans over $139 million in a single year. And that's just what was reported. So trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. But it's not just about protecting your wallet. It's also about protecting your heart. Because let's be honest, opening up again, especially after a loss or heartbreak, is emotional. You're not just learning new apps, you're learning to trust yourself again, to believe that love is possible. And that's something worth celebrating. I know someone, let's call her Linda, who lost her husband after 35 years of marriage. For 2 years, she didn't even consider dating. She said, "I didn't think I could ever feel that way again." But one day, her daughter helped her set up a profile on a site for people over 50. She kept it simple, honest. She wasn't even sure what she was hoping for. And guess what? After a few awkward conversations, she met someone named Mark. They bonded over a shared love of cooking and classical music. A few months later, they were dancing in the living room, making pasta together, and laughing like teenagers. No, it wasn't exactly like her first love, but it was something new, something real. That's what's possible. Still, it's important to go at your own pace. There's no rush. When you're messaging someone new, keep your personal information private. That means no sharing your full address, social security number, or financial details. It may sound obvious, but in the excitement of a good connection, it's easy to overshare. When you do decide to meet someone in person, choose a public place, like a coffee shop or a well-lit park, and let a friend or family member know where you'll be. Bring your own transportation, so you can leave when you want. And here's the key: don't let anyone make you feel guilty for being cautious. Being smart is attractive. And if things go well, great. But if they don't, that's okay too. You haven't failed. You've just learned. Every experience, even the uncomfortable ones, helps you get closer to what you truly want. Another helpful tip: keep your emotional well-being front and center. Online dating can stir up old insecurities. You might wonder, why haven't they messaged me back? Or what if I'm not interesting enough? That kind of inner critic can be loud, especially if you're not used to putting yourself out there. But here's something research tells us: self-compassion matters. A study published in the journal Mindfulness found that people who practice self-compassion were more resilient in the face of rejection and felt less anxious overall. So talk to yourself the way you would talk to a dear friend. Be kind, be patient, and remember, this is about connection, not perfection. Speaking of connection, one of the most powerful things you can do is communicate clearly. Be honest about what you're looking for. Whether it's friendship, companionship, or a romantic relationship, putting that out there saves time and avoids misunderstandings. You don't have to spill your life story right away, but saying something like, "I'm enjoying this new chapter in life and looking to share it with someone kind and sincere," sets a clear, respectful tone. You might be surprised how refreshing honesty is, especially at this stage of life when games and pretense just aren't worth it. So where do we go from here? In the next part of this journey, we're going to talk about something really important: how to overcome the emotional blocks that might be holding you back. Maybe it's fear of rejection, maybe it's comparing yourself to a younger version of who you were, or maybe it's just uncertainty about what you want. Whatever it is, we'll tackle it together. Because online dating isn't just about finding another person, it's about finding yourself again in the process. So if you're still with me, keep going. This is a journey worth taking, and you don't have to do it alone. Let's take a moment to talk about what often holds us back. Not the apps, not the technology, but something far more personal: our own mindset. Because no matter how carefully you write your profile, or how many messages you exchange, there's one quiet voice that can shake your confidence faster than anything else. That voice that says, "What if I'm not good enough? What if I get rejected? What if I try and it still doesn't work out?" It's a feeling so many of us have carried, especially if we've been through heartbreak, divorce, or the loss of a partner. It's perfectly normal. But let me say this clearly: just because something ended doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've lived. And that's something powerful. One gentleman I spoke with, let's call him James, hadn't been on a date in over 30 years. After losing his wife, he felt like the dating world had passed him by. His kids encouraged him to try online dating, but he kept saying, "I'm too old for this. I wouldn't even know what to say." Finally, he gave it a shot. And I'll never forget what he told me after his first date. "I was nervous the whole time, but it felt so good to talk to someone who didn't know my past, who was just curious about who I am now." That right there? That's the gift of starting again. Online dating isn't about erasing your past. It's about embracing your present and being open to a future you didn't see coming. And yes, sometimes rejection will happen. Someone might not message you back. You might go on a date and feel no spark. That's okay. That's normal. It doesn't mean you're not worthy. It means you're human. There's a term psychologists use called rejection sensitivity. It refers to how intensely we feel or fear rejection. Studies have shown that people who've experienced major life changes, like divorce or widowhood, are more likely to carry this sensitivity with them into new relationships. But here's the good news: you can reframe how you see rejection. Instead of seeing it as failure, try to see it as feedback. Think of each interaction as practice. Not every message or date is supposed to lead to love, but each one teaches you something. It teaches you what you want, what you don't, and what truly matters. Now let's talk about confidence. You don't need to be flawless. You don't need to be the most interesting person in the room. What you need is to be yourself, fully and unapologetically. Confidence doesn't come from pretending to be younger, cooler, or more with it. It comes from knowing who you are and what you bring to the table. You've built a life. You've faced challenges. You've laughed and loved and survived hard seasons. That kind of experience? It's incredibly attractive. Don't underestimate how rare that is. Someone who knows themselves, who isn't afraid to be honest, and who has the courage to show up with an open heart. That's what people are really looking for, even if they don't always know how to say it. Now, if you're someone who's struggling with self-image, I want you to hear this. You don't need to look a certain way to deserve love. Society puts so much pressure on us to appear young, to be seen as desirable. But real connection isn't skin deep. It's about energy, presence, kindness, humor, listening, the way you make someone feel seen and heard. And guess what? Those things only get better with age. Here's a beautiful truth. You're not starting over. You're starting fresh. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Starting over implies you lost something. Starting fresh means you're gaining something new. A new perspective, a new adventure, maybe even a new friend or companion. It might sound a little cheesy, but think of online dating like planting seeds in a garden. You water some, and they don't grow. You try again, and another one starts to sprout. Not every match will become something meaningful, but every interaction holds the possibility of growth. And while we're at it, let's talk about the kind of relationships you might be seeking. For some, it's romance. For others, it might be companionship, someone to go for walks with, see a movie, share Sunday morning coffee. The beauty of this chapter of life is that you get to define what love means to you now. There's no right outcome here. Maybe you find someone you want to spend the rest of your life with. Maybe you make a new best friend. Or maybe you simply discover new sides of yourself you'd forgotten were there. Whatever the result, this process can be healing. It reminds you that you're still vibrant, still growing, still worthy of connection. So if you're thinking, this sounds great, but what if I'm just not ready? That's okay too. Readiness is a spectrum. Some people jump right in, others take small steps. There's no deadline. Maybe for now, just explore the platforms. Read some profiles. Send a few messages. Keep your heart open without pressure. And if you're worried about making mistakes, let me assure you, you're supposed to make a few. That's how you learn. That's how everyone learns, at any age. Now coming up next, we're going to take all of this a step further. We've talked about mindset and safety and confidence. Next, we'll wrap it all up with some empowering takeaways, final tips, and small steps you can start taking today. We'll also talk about how to keep your expectations healthy, stay emotionally balanced, and embrace dating as something joyful, not stressful. Because here's the thing, you're not just dating to find someone, you're dating to reconnect with life itself, to feel excited again, to open your heart just a little more. And you deserve that. So stay with me, because in the final part, we're going to put it all together. So here we are, at the part where everything starts to come together. You've opened your heart to the idea of online dating. You've learned how to stay safe, how to build confidence, and how to handle the ups and downs of this journey. That's no small thing. That's courage in action. Let's take a deep breath and look back for a moment. You started this video maybe feeling unsure or even skeptical. You might have thought, online dating? At my age? But you stayed with me. You listened, reflected, and hopefully, somewhere along the way, you began to realize something incredibly important. You are not too old, and it's not too late. Connection, companionship, romance. These things don't come with an expiration date. So what now? Where do you go from here? You start small. You take one step. Maybe that means downloading a dating app and just scrolling through profiles. Not to find the one right away, but to observe, to get comfortable, to remind yourself that this is a space where you belong too. Or maybe it means rewriting your bio to reflect the person you are today, not the person you were 20 years ago. Maybe it means uploading that picture your friend took last month where you were laughing, relaxed, fully you. That kind of authenticity goes a long way. A study published in Psychology and Aging found that older adults who stayed socially connected, whether through friendship, romance, or community, had better emotional well-being and cognitive function than those who isolated themselves. Think about that. This isn't just about finding love, it's about staying vibrant, engaged, and healthy. Love, in any form, is good for the brain and good for the soul. Now let's talk about managing expectations, because let's be honest, dating isn't always sunshine and butterflies. There will be awkward silences. There will be people who ghost you or say things that make you roll your eyes. That's just part of the process. But if you can stay open, if you can laugh through the weird moments and learn from the uncomfortable ones, you'll find something even more valuable than a perfect match. You'll find growth. You'll become someone who took a risk, who refused to settle for loneliness, who said, yes, I still have more life to live, and I want someone to share it with. That's powerful. That's inspiring. And please remember this, not every connection has to be forever to be meaningful. A few good conversations, a new friend, a dinner date that makes you smile, those are all victories. Those are signs that you're living fully. I once heard someone say, the best relationships aren't found, they're built. That's true at any age. Real love takes time, curiosity, and effort. It's not about finding someone who completes you. It's about finding someone who complements you. Someone whose presence brings out the best in who you already are. And the only way to find that is to show up, to be seen. So let's recap the small, practical steps you can take right now. Choose one dating platform that feels right for your lifestyle. Start slow, just create a profile and explore. Use recent, honest photos and a bio that reflects your current values and interests. Keep it simple, sincere, and lighthearted. Protect your personal information. Never send money or sensitive details to anyone you haven't met in person. Set your own pace. Whether you're messaging one person a week or going on a date once a month, there's no rush. Practice self-kindness. If something doesn't work out, it doesn't mean you failed, it means you tried. That's always worth celebrating. And here's one last science-backed insight to carry with you. A 2020 study in the Journal of Gerontology found that older adults who remained romantically hopeful, meaning they believed love was still possible, reported greater life satisfaction and lower levels of depression, even if they weren't currently in a relationship. Just the act of believing made a difference. Isn't that beautiful? Just by keeping your heart open, you're already improving your well-being. So maybe that's the final message I want to leave you with today. Stay open. Stay hopeful. Stay curious. Love might not come in the way you expect or on the timeline you imagine, but it's out there. And more importantly, you're worthy of receiving it. I'll leave you with this. You've loved before. You've given, grieved, and grown. And now, here you are, brave enough to believe that there's more to come. There's something deeply attractive about someone who lives with that kind of hope. Someone who knows that this chapter of life can be just as rich, just as exciting, and just as full of love as any that came before it. So whether you're looking for a soulmate, a walking buddy, or just someone to text good morning, you're not alone. There's someone out there who's also sitting at their kitchen table right now, wondering if they should try. Let this be your sign. You absolutely should. We'd really love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions for future topics or questions you want answered, write to us in the comments below. We're here to help, and your input could inspire our next video. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical tips for healthy aging. Here's to living your best life at any age. You've got this.